Breathe slowly. What if I told you you're not late, you're right on time? Controversial? Maybe. But look around. How many closed doors spared you from dead ends? The counterintuitive truth is simple. When you force the clock, life slows down. When you listen to time, the path opens. Maybe you were taught that success is speed, noise, and comparison. I'll show you the opposite. Silence that organizes, signs that confirm, steps that click into place. Quick win? Today you'll leave with 3 rituals that change your route. No shouting, no superstition. Curious to understand why being late has actually been your greatest protection? Close your eyes for a moment and notice. What you called a stop may have been incubation. Seeds don't shout, they grow roots. And roots don't show up in the feed, they hold your life from underneath. Now take that apparent void and rename it preparation. When the universe hides you, it's not punishment, it's polishing. Time doesn't forget you, it trains you. And those trained in silence arrive at the right hour without stumbling. On this journey, you'll learn to read 3 maps. The map of the right environment where your seed can breathe, the map of the quiet tests that check your coherence, and the map of confirmations, synchronicities that blink, go. Today, with no mystery, I'll hand you simple tools. The 3x3 routine to align your day, the signs journal to tell faith from fantasy, and the 20-second rule to break through the soil without drama. If you're tired of running in place, it might be time to trade speed for rhythm, anxiety for listening, and comparison for the calendar of the soul. Because when time is an ally, the impossible only seems delayed. It's arriving. Come with me. Let's recalculate this route together and prove with evidence that you're already where you need to be. You just needed to adjust the lens. He remembers the day he looked at the calendar and felt the weight of comparison. I should be further ahead, he thought, and his chest tightened. Outside, everything seemed to be racing. Inside, only silence and haste. The mentor within whispered, "Breathe. Come back to your body." And in that pocket of air, he sensed maybe lateness was just an angle. He revisited past decisions like rewinding a film. Each choice, tidy or messy, opened a door he hadn't seen. It wasn't a character flaw, it was a missing map. When the map changes, the route changes. Simple as that. And still, the mind insisted, "You're behind." Then he heard the metaphor that saved him, the inner GPS. Miss the exit and the GPS doesn't scold, it recalculates. Recalculating. And it continues, calm, without drama. He realized life works the same way, not delays, just redirections. There's no punishment, there's a route update. In a notebook, he wrote an exercise to keep himself honest. List A, external pressures. Age, others' milestones, invented deadlines. List B, real movement. Habits, micro wins, quiet alignments. Each night, he marked what actually moved. Result, the feeling of being late deflated like a balloon. He tested this at work in small 7-day sprints. Tiny goals. 1 key contact a day, 1 applicable reading, 1 honest question. No change your life in 24 hours, only trackable coherence. By week's end, he looked at data, not anxieties, and discovered what looked like stillness was silent maturation. Once he lost a project that had to be. It hurt, but he followed the inner GPS. Next exit. 3 months later, something bigger arrived with better people. The old failure became a sacred detour on the map. He chuckled. How many delays were actually invisible shortcuts? To cultivate this vision, he built simple rituals. Morning, 3 minutes of 4-2-6 breathing, then 1 clear intention. Midday, 1 gesture that proves the intention, a message, a draft, a prototype. Night, 3 specific gratitudes and 1 small tweak for tomorrow. Over time, the inner compass stopped trembling. If asked, he'd say, notice the recalculations in your day. Overslept, traffic, meeting postponed. Trade judgment for curiosity. What is this reorganizing in my favor? That question opens doors haste can't see. And when the door opens, it's clear. There was no delay, there was precision. He ends the account looking inward in a gentle silence. He senses life was never against him. It only trained him to listen, The inner GPS doesn't shout, it whispers directions amid the noise. Those who slow down, hear. Those who hear, adjust. And those who adjust start noticing the invisible weight revealing itself. He holds a closed seed in his palm and smiles in silence. Years stored, and yet intact, full of promise. He learns that waiting isn't pause, it's incubation. Life works backstage while the eyes rest. He whispers to himself, "Just because I don't see it doesn't mean it isn't alive." At first, the mind demands noise, photogenic results, applause. He decides to educate the mind like teaching a child to breathe. 5 minutes of silence before the day, 5 after lunch. In those pockets, the invisible finds room to organize the visible. And the body understands maturation doesn't boom, it roots. He remembers the drawer of drafts no one read. He used to call them failures. Now he calls it a nursery. There, ideas waited for the right weather to sprout. When the season came, a gentle push was enough to bloom. It wasn't a miracle, it was timing, plus quiet preparation. To test it, he set weekly micro-proofs of invisible life. No photos, no posts, no fanfare, just consistency. He read 10 pages a day and applied 1 line at work. He saved $4 a day for 30 days and reviewed spending patterns. In 90 days, the discrete became a curve, and the curve became direction. He adopted a sentence as his anchor. Just because you don't see movement doesn't mean there isn't life. Each night he asked, what grew without a camera pointed at it? Patience gained muscle, anxiety lost its breath. Faith stopped being theory and became breathable practice. Simple examples reinforced the lesson. A pot on the windowsill, 3 weeks of nothing, then one day a green dot. Learning an instrument, 15 minutes daily, sore fingers, off-key sounds. By month 3, the music appeared out of nowhere. It wasn't nowhere, it was the invisible made visible. He realized waiting has rhythm, like the tide. Time to pull back, time to cast out, time to be still. Insisting on harvest out of season harms your own crop. He chose to trust the soul's calendar, not just the wall clock. And curiously, life became more precise and less anxious. Deep down he understood. Waiting isn't punishment, it's perception training. Those who train the eye spot sprouts before their flowers. Those who spot sprouts protect what's still fragile. That protection prepares you for heavier loads without breaking. And here is where time starts coaching the soul for what comes next. He realized time wasn't a harsh judge, but a patient coach. Daily challenges worked like weight sets for the soul. It hurts at the start, shakes in the middle, strengthens at the end. You don't lift 220 lbs on day 1, and that's okay. The right workout, calmly repeated, reshapes your inner body. To feel it in his skin, he designed character workouts. Monday, say no respectfully. Tuesday, finish an unfinished task. Wednesday, ask for feedback. Thursday, listen without defending. Friday, do an anonymous kindness. Saturday, revise one habit. Sunday, conscious rest. Muscles grow while resting. He applied the same logic at work. He split big goals into 21-day cycles with microsets. 5 hard calls became 1 per day with a simple script. Heavy reports became 25-minute blocks with breathing space between. By cycle's end, what once felt impossible now looked like a warm-up. In finances, he trained progressive weight of discipline. He started with $2 a day, automated, almost invisible. Then he increased the load, $3, $4, $6. Alongside, he fasted from impulses, 48 hours before buying. 3 months later, savings existed, proof of quiet strength. In relationships, the workout was communication. 1 honest conversation a week, aiming to listen 70%, speak 30%. Empathy drill, repeat back in your own words what you heard. Boundary drill, say what you feel without attacking. Over time, bonds gained tone and became more resilient. He also trained his mind like an athlete trains focus. Simple protocol, 4 to 2, 6 breathing twice a day. Before decisions, 3 questions. Is it necessary? Is it kind? Is it coherent? If no appeared, he lowered the load to avoid injury. Focus isn't tension, it's proper posture to lift life. There were bad days, and he learned to fail with technique. He noted the error, sought the cause, adjusted the plan, moved on. No drama, no labels, no quitting the season for one bad game. Progress doesn't vanish, it compounds, even invisibly. And thus, the soul built muscle memory for courage. Inside, he noticed something curious. Time also trains timing. Strength without timing injures, timing without strength doesn't hold. The invisible coach taught him to wait for the load and the ideal moment. In that cadence, people and opportunities began aligning. But what about when the person is right and the hour isn't? Let's breathe into that next. He recalls someone who crossed his path too soon. Beautiful chemistry, conversation that flowed, but misaligned lives. Different goals, incompatible routines, wounds still open. Back then, it hurt to call it a no. Today, he sees, it wasn't a lack of love, it was a lack of timing. He discovered time is a maturity filter. Even good wine disappoints when opened too early. Relationships need the barrel, shade, and patience. When haste pours the glass, the flavor doesn't tell the truth. He learned not to confuse chemistry with readiness. There was a business partnership that almost happened. Schedules jammed, lukewarm proposal, clumsy communication. 2 years later, the same names in a new season. Clear roles, aligned values, precise timing, and it flowed. The old failure had only been a dress rehearsal. To live this wisdom, he created clarity rights. Before yes, 3 notebook questions. Do we share a vision of the future? Is there real space in the schedule? Are we ready emotionally or asking the other to save us? If 2 answers were no, he honored time and stepped back. He practiced communication that respects the soul's clock. Simple phrases, I like you but I'm not ready for this yet. Or, I want to work together but I need to close this cycle first. Truth with kindness prevents future resentment. When time ripens, honest bridges remain standing. Practical examples grounded the lesson. In love, set boundaries, therapy, self-care routines. In business, clear scope, simple contract, realistic timeline. Friendships, time together without pressure, presence without control. When each part strengthens, the reunion carries different weight. He learned to read wrong time signals more calmly. Too many adverse coincidences, stuck doors, inner noise. Not a curse, but the universe's logistics of mercy. Delay can be shielding, silence can be protection. Honor that, and you conserve energy for the exact hour. Deep inside, he saw that right person is also environment. People become climate. Some cast shade, some drain the sprout. It's not only the who, it's the where and with whom else. So he tended the soil around his relationships. And here he discovers, environment is part of timing, let's prepare that ground. He looks at the seed and understands, a calendar doesn't germinate anything alone. Time without environment is a promise without a pot. Light, water, soil, and silence. Haste asks for flowers, nature asks for climate. When the climate is right, time flows without strain. Soil is people, it's conversation, it's routine. Some friends are cool shade, others are weeds. Mentors work like fertilizer, concentrated, rare, transformative. Toxic environments drain the soul's sap. He learns to choose where his heart lands. A simple practice. Audit your circle in 3 columns. Column 1, who expands you. Column 2, who keeps you stagnant. Column 3, who contracts you, kindly but contracts. Then 3 moves. Draw near, adjust distance, say goodbye gently. Environment is built in inches, not speeches. He arranges physical space like preparing a bed for planting. Clear desk, few objects, light that invites presence, a scent that anchors focus, a plant reminding constancy. Phone out of sight during deep focus blocks. When the house breathes, the mind loosens. Routine is also temporal environment. Morning silence, awakened body, 1 handwritten page. Midday pause, air in, air out. Afternoon in attention blocks, and trackable micro-wins. Night closure, specific gratitude and tomorrow's map. He seeks proximity to those already living what he wants. A mentor isn't a distant idol, It's an accessible reference. One message a week, one clear question, one honest feedback. If access is hard, he creates context. Study group, co-working, workshop. Proximity rearranges timelines. It accelerates without trampling. Digitally, he curates what the algorithm plants in him. He cuts noise, follows clean sources, limits loud distractions, playlists that stabilize, videos that instruct, readings that nourish. Your feed's invisible layer becomes fertilizer or poison. Your choice. Daily curation is the gardening of attention. With the right environment, time stops fighting him. Sprouting gets easier, roots deepen, weight is supported, and curiously, small internships start appearing. Modest invites, growing responsibilities, signs of trust. Perhaps they're the universe's tests checking if he's ready. He began to notice a gentle logic in events. Before big leaps, small steps showed up. Tiny invitations, modest responsibilities, quiet check-ins. It seemed like chance. It was his energetic resume being reviewed. The universe, patient, asked, "Ready?" Or almost. With money, tests came in miniature, an unexpected extra to see if he'd save or splurge, an old debt-demanding presence, posture or excuse. He applied the 48-hour rule before buying and set aside 10% of every inflow, like training a muscle. In love, the tests were mirrors. Someone kind but unclear would appear. He knew the pattern. This time he chose peace over chaotic intensity. He practiced boundaries, honest talks, gentle goodbyes when needed. The universe watched. Coherence is the password to the next portal. At work, internships preceded the dream job. A smaller project, a tough client, a tight deadline. He treated each delivery as a dress rehearsal. Care, communication, aftercare. He learned to document processes and measure outcomes. When the bigger invitation arrived, he was already trained. He created practical proofs to signal readiness. 90 days of consistency, daily study, objective action, weekly review. A simple evidence report, no glamour, with data. Discrete results became solid confidence in the body. Solid confidence attracts challenges in the right measure. To read the tests, he adopted guiding questions. Does this expand me? Is this an old pattern repeating? What choice honors my future, not my fear? He breathed, wrote, chose, without rush, without drama. Life responded by leveling him up, gently but firmly. He embraced the internship analogy clearly. No one starts as the boss. You learn the shop floor first. Internship doesn't diminish. It prepares. Honor the small, and you enlarge your inner container for the big. Then the big arrives without bursting the soul's seams. Inside, he noticed a precious detail. Some no's wore the mask of delay but were protection. Doors that didn't open, flights missed, meetings postponed. Perhaps the test was also trust the timing's invisible guard. And that's precisely where he discovers time as protection. Let's breathe into that. He remembers the day he missed a flight and thought the world would collapse. Hours later, he learned of a malfunction that delayed arrival by nearly a day. Instead of guilt, a strange relief moved through his body. What if delay is an invisible umbrella, he thought, breathing deep. There he inaugurated a new lens, delay as shielding. Another time an important meeting was postponed 3 times. On the 4th, the place changed, the conversation changed, and the deal too. It became clearer, fairer, safer for everyone. What once seemed blocked was merely protective rearrangement. Time didn't deny, it escorted with more caution. To cultivate this perception, he created a simple protocol. When something jams, a 2-minute pause, shoulders loose, feet grounded. Then 3 notebook questions. What is this preventing? What is this preparing? What must I adjust? Half the anxiety dissolves when the body participates. The other half organizes when the mind receives good questions. With money, he learned to thank the no that protects the budget. Impulse buys delayed 48 hours, and desire lost steam. If it still made sense, he bought consciously. If not, he smiled at the savings. Odd to call delay the guardian of the financial future, but that's how his reserve grew, under discreet guard. In love, protection came as respectful silence. Unanswered messages weren't contempt, they were life's filter. Sometimes time spared dramatic farewells and weary restarts. He chose to follow the rhythm, not the hurried ego. When the right hour arrived, the right presence arrived too. At work, closed doors proved to be temporary walls. While waiting, he documented processes, refined his portfolio, fortified his network. When a gap opened, he stepped in with more readiness and less fear. The delay had saved him from costly stumbles. Protection isn't glamour, it's risk engineering in the invisible. He practices small trust rituals to anchor this view. Gratitude for the alternative route, even without understanding it yet. Micro checklist, review safety, align expectations, confirm details. Inviting prudence to the table isn't pessimism, it's self-care. And, curiously, luck tends to favor those who protect themselves. Deep down, he knows every protection has a purpose beyond shelter. Time holds you. To strengthen roots, align winds, wait for the season. When shielding completes its role, something calls from within. The seed starts pressing through the dark soil, asking passage. It's the sign. The moment to break the ground has come. Let's feel that click. He feels the pressure inside, like a sprout pushing through the dark. Breaking the ground isn't poetry, it's real friction. The body trembles a little, the mind invents excuses, the ego wants comfort. Even so, something deeper whispers, now. He breathes and takes the first centimeter. To sustain the push, he creates a launch ritual. Morning, water on the face, 3, 4, 2, 6 breaths, one anchor phrase. Then the 20-second rule. Open the file, send the message, publish the draft. The goal isn't perfection, it's beating inertia. The soil yields when it senses consistency. He adopts micro breakthroughs that sum to big turns. 1 page written per day, 1 contact reached, 1 quote sent. Business, a simple landing page live, even imperfect. Health, a short walk after lunch, every day. By month 3, the sprout shows, and the environment recognizes life. The pain of growth differs from the pain of harm. He learns to tell them apart. Expansion tires but leaves lightness. Self-sabotage hurts and drains. When he senses too much weight, he lowers the load but keeps the rhythm. A sprout doesn't become a tree in one afternoon, but it sprouts today. He avoids nervous watering, poking the bed non-stop. Instead of uprooting the seedling to check the roots, he trusts the process. Practical checklist, daily minimum action, weekly review, monthly adjustment. That prevents anxiety and protects the sap of beginnings. The right silence at the right time is fertilizer. In relationships, breaking the ground is honest conversation, stating needs without blame, asking for help without shame, creating boundaries like fences that protect the garden, not walls that isolate. A practical example: tonight I'm offline by 8 p.m. Tomorrow I'll reply with focus. Small truths make room for light. He celebrates subtle signs that the sprout beat the shell. First client, first useful feedback, first organic partnership. He saves screenshots, notes milestones, shares with those who truly root for him. This evidence log sustains him on cloudy days. The sprout needs proof, not noise. Inside, he feels the world starting to respond. Gentle coincidences, the right phrases at the right time, unlikely encounters. As if life winked back. Keep going. These tiny beacons guide the next step in the dark. And here sprout the synchronicities and confirmations that validate the path. He began noticing patterns where he once saw chance. Repeated numbers on the clock, names popping up 3 times a day, a line in a book, then on a billboard, then in a conversation. It wasn't automatic mysticism, it was trained attention. Life speaks softly to those who rush, and clearly to those who breathe. To avoid fantasy, he created a simple criterion. A sign is a confirmation when it meets preparation and coherence. If the invitation comes but structure is lacking, he takes note and strengthens the ground. If structure is there and the sign echoes, he takes the next step. Not superstition, responsible alignment. He kept a nightly synchronicity journal: date, sign, scene, context, and the action it called for. Some signs asked him to wait, others for concrete micro-gestures. This way, the invisible fit into daily life without turning into delusion, and the body learned to trust, with feet on the ground. Dreams also began visiting with gentle notes: people, places, symbols that made sense the next day. He didn't predict the future, he adjusted the present. Guiding question upon waking: what micro-action is this dream inviting today? An email sent, a written forgiveness, a study started. There were coincidences that opened doors he'd pushed for months. A casual coffee chat led to an unlikely partnership. A traffic delay placed him face to face with the person he needed to meet. The old self called it luck. The new self calls it active listening. Synchronicity favors those who show up whole. To calibrate his reading, he practiced double check. Sign plus peace in the body, checked advance. Sign without peace, watch a bit more. No sign, but deep peace. She proceed prudently. The compass isn't the event, it's coherence plus silence. Practical examples sealed the trust. Before deciding, 3, 4, 2, 6 breaths and the right question. Then one minimal step within 24 hours to test the direction. If flow opened without undue strain, he continued. If it jammed too much, he noted, perhaps time asks for maturation. Inside, he realized synchronicity is the language of the confirmed. Those who tend the soil receive harvest signs. Those who honor rhythm receive invitations in the right tempo. Those who care for listening know when to say yes without fear. Breathe slowly. Now that you've seen the map, the question is simple. What will you move in the next 24 hours? It doesn't have to be grand. Send a message, ask for feedback, read 10 pages that feed your purpose, stash a conscious amount of money. The universe responds to coherence, not desperation. Do little, but do it with presence. 3 micro steps for today. 3 Wake 3 routine. Choose your timeline in the morning. At midday, generate 1 concrete evidence. At night, record 3 specific gratitudes. 20-second rule. Open the file, send the email, publish the draft, beat inertia. Signs journal. Jot 1 synchronicity and the micro-action it invites. Small, repeatable, transformative. Now answer honestly. In which area do you still call incubation delay? Which environments must you adjust so your seed can breathe? What test has the universe already shown and you can pass today? Which boundary, spoken kindly, will protect your garden? If something in you trembles, that's okay. Trembling is a sprout pushing through the soil and a sign of life. Breathe, roll your shoulders back, take the next centimeter. Harvest isn't a shout, it's quiet constancy. And those who honor time arrive precisely. If this moved you, subscribe and turn on notifications. Here, every week you'll find simple, deep tools to align rhythm, environment, and signs without empty promises. Share with someone who needs to trade haste for timing, and comment below, what micro-action will you take in the next 24 hours? I'll read and reply with care. When the world's clock says too late, remember, a seed doesn't miss the hour, it finds the climate. And your climate begins now.